The Forgotten Legends. The galaxy was old, but its memory was short. Civilizations rose, empires fell, and countless wars painted the stars with fire. Yet some stories were older than any archive, whispered by the oldest races, stories about the ancients. They were said to be the first ones to walk among the stars, the first builders of ships that could bend space like cloth. No one remembered their faces, no one remembered their name, only that they vanished thousands of years ago, leaving nothing behind but silence. For the Galactic Council, the legends were nothing but myths. Scholars debated them in dusty halls, children read about them in tales, and commanders laughed when soldiers worried about their return. The ancients were ghosts, nothing more, or so they believed. Then, everything changed. One evening, deep in the council's main chamber, alarms screamed through the hall. A signal had arrived, weak but ancient, its code so old that the machines could barely read it. The origin point was clear. It came from the edges of the Perseid expanse, a dead system no ship dared to enter. The signal contained only a single phrase, repeated endlessly, "We are awake." Confusion filled the chamber. The council members stared at one another, their scaled faces, furred hides, and glowing eyes betraying unease. Some laughed nervously, calling it a prank. Others whispered of danger. The council speaker, an elder with silver tendrils, demanded calm, but even his voice shook. No one wanted to believe the word ancients, but the signal felt older than any known language. A scout fleet was dispatched. 3 ships, armed with modest defenses, entered the dead system. For 3 days, no word came back. On the 4th day, fragments of broken transmissions reached the council, screams of pilots, flashes of black ships moving in the void, then silence, complete silence. Panic spread. Across the council worlds, the news could not be hidden, for traders and smugglers carried whispers faster than light. They spoke of ships that moved without sound, hulls darker than space, weapons that left no wreckage. One smuggler swore he saw a face through a shattered viewport, a face with soft skin and round eyes, a face that matched the ancient drawings of humans. Most dismissed him as mad, but fear was already seated. In the marketplaces of the Orion Rim, people whispered that the ancients had returned. On mining colonies near dying suns, children asked their parents if the humans would come for them, and in the military barracks of the proudest council races, even the bravest soldiers checked the shadows twice. The council tried to contain the chaos. They called it rumors. They said the signal was fake. They promised protection. But deep inside their vaults, secret files were opened. Old records from the first expansion, maps of forgotten Earth, and warnings left by vanished explorers. One line repeated over and over in the records: "If humanity returns, the balance of the galaxy will shatter." The fear only grew stronger when another signal arrived, this one clearer, stronger, impossible to dismiss. It said, "The ancients are not gone, we are here, and we are watching." The signal was traced again to the same dead system, but this time no ship dared to investigate. The memory of the vanished scouts was still raw. The council speaker called for an emergency gathering. Inside the chamber, hundreds of voices clashed. Some demanded war preparations, others pleaded for diplomacy, and a few suggested silence. "Do not wake them further," one elder cried. "If they are humans, if they are the ancients, then nothing we build will stop them." But no one listened. Fear made reason weak. The galaxy had faced many threats: rogue AI, insect swarms, collapsing stars, but none of them carried the weight of legend. None of them carried the fear of ghosts' return. The council could not sleep. Its members argued until their throats burned. In the shadows of the chamber, one younger officer whispered what many were thinking but dared not say aloud. "If the humans have returned, then we are no longer masters of the stars." As the session ended, a silence hung over the chamber, heavier than stone. Every race, from the smallest to the greatest, felt the same truth. The galaxy was no longer theirs alone. The ancients were not myths, they were real. And somewhere out there in the dark, they were watching. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the council realized what true fear felt like. Whispers of the lost world. The whispers began in secret places first, in the back alleys of trade stations, in the smoky corners of taverns, in the encrypted channels of smugglers. Everywhere the same story spread: the ancients were back. At first it sounded like rumor, the kind of story drunk pilots invent to make their lives feel bigger. But too many details matched, too many survivors told the same tale. A trader from the Arkan Rim claimed his convoy was stalked by ships that did not appear on scanners. Only when one of his escorts fired into the darkness did the black hulls reveal themselves, silent, smooth, and marked with an old Earth symbol, a blue and white circle, that none of his people understood. He barely escaped alive, and when he told his story, his hands still shook. In the council chambers, leaders tried to smother the fear. They called the stories nonsense, tricks, illusions caused by deep space anomalies. But they could not hide what was happening. Too many wrecked ships were found drifting near the Perseid expanse, their hulls burned by unknown weapon. Their crews missing. Every piece of evidence pointed to one truth. Someone powerful had returned. Old scholars were brought out of retirement. They dusted off forbidden archives, maps of human settlements lost thousands of years ago. The more they read, the quieter they became. In private, they admitted it. The designs of the black ships matched human legends. Impossible, the council speaker said. Yet the evidence whispered otherwise. On distant colonies, civilians panicked. Families packed their homes and fled inward toward safer space. Merchants doubled the price of weapons. Mercenaries suddenly found themselves rich with contracts. The galaxy, once united under the council's slow order, began to fracture, and still the whispers grew. They are human, one miner swore after being rescued from a half-destroyed cargo hauler. He said he saw them through the breach in his hull, faces pale, eyes sharp, and voices calm as they gave orders. They looked at me like I was nothing, like I was a child standing before giants, he whispered. His story spread like fire. No one could stop it. The council decided to act. They sent mercenaries first, armed to the teeth, promising them riches if they brought back proof. Only fragments of their reports returned. One message was just 3 words before silence took it. They are real. After that, the mercenary guilds refused all further contracts related to the expanse. The council's fleets hesitated. Their admirals argued. Their soldiers whispered among themselves. How could they fight an enemy that history itself called legendary? The fear of humans grew heavier each day. In the shadows of the galaxy, whole races began making preparations, some to resist, some to beg for alliance, but none could deny the truth anymore. The ancients were human, and they were awake. Then came the broadcast. Not a distress call, not a threat, but a warning carried on every major frequency. It was short, clear, and impossible to dismiss. We were forgotten, but we did not forget. We are returning. In the quiet corners of the galaxy, races remembered the old legends. Some spoke of humans who once created suns and moved planets. Others said humans once destroyed whole armadas with only a handful of ships. Every story was different, but every story ended the same. When humanity acted, the galaxy changed forever. Now the galaxy wondered, what would change this time? The council called another emergency session. Arguments exploded, fear clashed with pride. One elder cried out that the council should surrender now. Another roared that they should strike with all their strength. No one could agree, no one could lead. And in that chaos, the whispers became screams. The humans had returned. They were not begging for a place among the stars. They were not asking for permission. They were here. And the galaxy would soon learn what that truly meant. The rising fear. The galaxy had seen wars before, but this fear was different. It was not the fear of numbers or weapons or armies. It was the fear of shadows, the fear of something that was supposed to be gone. Every corner of the galaxy whispered the same word, humans. The council tried to silence the panic. They ordered the media to call the broadcasts lies. They released false reports blaming pirates and rogue AI. But the lies were weak because the truth was louder. Wreckage kept appearing, fleets kept vanishing, and survivors kept repeating the same thing. Humans were back. In the academies of the military, young cadets whispered at night. They pulled out old digital scrolls and ancient fragments, stories of how humans once fought. One cadet read of battles where humans, though outnumbered 10-1, always won. Another read of how humans once fought on death worlds that killed other species in hours. The more they read, the more their fear grew. On the outer colonies, people began to prepare bunkers. They spoke of Tai, a storm, saying it was only a matter of time before it arrived. Merchants raised prices again. Food and weapons became more valuable than jewels. And on the black market, relics of old Earth were sold at impossible prices, sometimes fake, sometimes real. Collectors fought each other over them, as if holding a piece of humanity might offer protection. The council speaker grew desperate. He summoned the best scholars of every race. Together they searched the forbidden archives. What they found made even the bravest among them pale. Hidden beneath centuries of dust was a line written long ago. Humanity is the seed of chaos, and wherever they return, order will break. The military called for calm, but even they were not immune. Admirals argued in private meetings, some saying they must strike first, others whispering that no strike would matter. One officer asked a question no one wanted to answer. If humans disappeared once, what had they been doing all this time? Were they hiding, waiting, or building? Then came the first undeniable proof. An entire council fleet of 50 ships sent to patrol the Perseid expanse vanished. Only one vessel returned, limping and broken, its crew half dead. The survivors spoke in shaking voices. They said black ships surrounded them, weapons too advanced to understand. They tried to fight, but their weapons passed through empty space as if the human ships weren't there. In the end, the humans let one ship escape, as if sending a message. That message spread faster than light. The council could no longer deny the truth. The ancients were human, and they had chosen to reveal themselves, but no one understood their purpose. Were they conquerors, saviors, or something worse? Fear reached its highest point when the humans sent another broadcast. It was not long, but it was enough. The same deep human voice spoke, calm and steady. We left, but we did not die. We return now, and the galaxy will remember us. The transmission ended, leaving silence more terrifying than words. Entire worlds erupted in protest. Some demanded surrender before it was too late. Others demanded immediate war, but most ordinary citizens just wanted to hide. No one trusted the council anymore. Their promises of protection sounded like hollow echoes. Smaller races began to break away from the council. They sent secret messages into the void, hoping to gain favor with the humans. Others gathered weapons, preparing for a last stand, but all knew the truth. No matter what they chose, humanity was beyond their control. In the darkness of the expanse, the human fleet grew larger. Observers from far away swore they saw entire systems go dark. Stars hidden by cloaking fields, planets shielded by technology no one else could match. And always at the center, the same symbol, a blue and white circle, the mark of Earth glowing against the void. The galaxy trembled. For the first time in thousands of years, no one spoke of trade or politics or ordinary rivalries. All spoke of humans. All feared the ancients. And deep in their hearts, every race wondered the same thing. If humanity had returned once, how far would they go this time? The first message. The galaxy waited in silence. Worlds held their breath. Fleets stayed close to their home systems. Even the proudest warriors lowered their voices. Everywhere, the question was the same. What did the humans want? No one had the answer, and the silence was worse than war. Then, without warning, the first true message came. It spread across every channel, every frequency, every screen in the galaxy. The voice was human, calm, strong, and steady. We left to build in silence. Now we return, and the galaxy will listen. Billions of beings froze where they stood. Miners dropped their tools. Soldiers lowered their rifles. Children stopped crying. The voice echoed in every corner of the stars. Simple words, but heavy with meaning. It was not a plea. It was not a threat. It was a statement. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some leaders demanded the signal be blocked. Others screamed it was impossible. The speaker's tendrils trembled as he shouted for silence, but nothing could erase the sound of that human voice. It played again and again in every mind. Then came the image. A fleet appeared on the screens, black ships moving like shadows. Their design was sharp, alien yet familiar, and on their hulls glowed the ancient symbol of Earth. Not broken, not forgotten, but alive. The humans had revealed themselves. The council's admirals gathered in secret. They studied the footage frame by frame. The ships bent light. Their engines moved without heat. Their weapons shone with silent energy. One admiral whispered what all of them feared. These ships are beyond us. We cannot match them. But pride is louder than fear. Several worlds urged defiance. They claimed the humans were bluffing. Numbers will crush them, one warlord shouted. Our fleets are countless. Yet no one dared to send those fleets forward. Every commander remembered the vanished patrols, the wrecked ships, The survivors who spoke of battles already lost. On the colonies, ordinary people reacted differently. Some fell to their knees, calling the humans gods returned. Others cursed their name, praying they would pass without notice. But most felt only dread. The ancients had spoken, and they had spoken as humans. The message did not end there. Hours later, another broadcast followed. It showed a single human figure, tall, armored, standing on the bridge of a massive vessel. His eyes burned with quiet strength as he spoke. "We are not myths. We are not shadows. We are human, and we remember everything." Those words cut deeper than any weapon. They spoke of memory, of history, of vengeance. The council panicked. Leaders shouted. Entire governments shook because everyone wondered, what exactly did humans remember? Old files were searched again, reports of wars fought thousands of years ago, records of first contact with fragile-looking primates from a violent blue world, and notes that described humanity as both dangerous and unstoppable. If the humans remembered all of that, then the galaxy was in greater danger than anyone imagined. In one secret meeting, a nervous scholar spoke the truth. They vanished not because they were weak, but because they chose to leave, and if they chose to return, it is because they are ready. The chamber fell silent after his words. No one could argue, no one could laugh, for deep inside, they all knew he was right. The message from the humans was clear. They were not begging for a seat in the council. They were not asking for trade or treaties. They were declaring their presence, a presence that felt larger than the council itself. Some races whispered of surrender before a single shot was fired. Others began secret preparations for war, but all shared the same thought. This was not just another species rising. This was the return of the ancients, and nothing in the galaxy would remain the same. In the dark of space, the human fleet grew. Sensors picked up movement near forgotten systems, old ruins suddenly alive with energy. Ships gathered like storms, silent and patient, and every alien who looked into the void felt the same fear. The humans were not coming. The humans were already here. Clash of wills. The council could not remain silent any longer. The humans had spoken. Their fleet had appeared. Their warning echoed in every corner of the stars. Pride and fear clashed inside the chamber. Some cried out for peace, others roared for war. And at last, war was chosen. The council assembled its strongest armada, 200 ships pulled from every loyal world, massive dreadnoughts armed with rail cannons, cruisers fitted with plasma lances, swarms of fighters ready to strike. It was the largest fleet ever gathered in living memory. To the council, it was proof that numbers still meant power. Admirals gave speeches. They promised victory. They told their soldiers the humans were only myths wrapped in tricks. But inside, the officers' hearts were heavy. They remembered the vanished patrols, the broken survivors, the quiet terror of the broadcasts. Still, orders were orders, and the fleet moved. On the edge of the Perseid expanse, the void rippled. The human fleet waited. Not hundreds, not thousands, but only 50 ships, black and silent, their hulls glowing with the mark of Earth. The sight made the council admirals laugh bitterly. 50 against 200? This will be short, one sneered. But his voice cracked as he said it. The battle began. Council ships opened fire first, filling the void with burning light. Missiles streaked forward, plasma beams cut across the dark, rail cannons thundered. For a moment, the galaxy itself seemed to shake under their fury. Then the human fleet moved, their ships bent light, twisting space like water. Weapons passed harmlessly through them, as though the humans fought from another layer of reality. And when they struck back, the void burned. Beams of pure energy cut through armor like cloth. Entire cruisers shattered in a single hit. The council fleets tried to regroup. Admirals screamed orders. Fighters swarmed forward. But the humans fought with terrifying precision. Every shot was perfect. Every strike left wreckage drifting silently. It was not war, it was demonstration. One by one, the council's mighty dreadnoughts fell. One ship, the Valor's Crown, armed with the most powerful plasma lance in the galaxy, turned to fire. But before it could strike, a single human shot split it in half. The destruction echoed across every broadcast, seen live by billions. Gasps filled the galaxy as the proudest symbol of the council crumbled in flames. The humans did not chase the survivors. They allowed ships to retreat, as if mocking the council's power. It was not victory they wanted, it was message, a warning carved in wreckage and fire. Back in the council chamber, silence ruled. No one dared to cheer, no one dared to speak. The speaker's voice shook as he whispered, "If 50 ships could destroy 200, what else are they hiding?" And no one answered. On the colonies, fear became certainty. Children whispered of human ghosts that could never be killed. Miners prayed, soldiers drank themselves into silence. Even the mercenaries, once bold, refused contracts near human space. The galaxy understood. Humans had not only returned, they had returned stronger than anyone could imagine. But not all felt despair. Some races whispered of opportunity. If humanity could defeat the Council, perhaps they could also free the smaller worlds long crushed under its rule. A quiet hope sparked, hidden beneath the fear. Perhaps the ancients were not only conquerors, perhaps they could be saviors. The humans sent no celebration, no threats, only silence. Their fleet disappeared back into the expanse, leaving wreckage behind as reminder. And across the galaxy, one truth became clear. The Council was no longer the master of the stars. The clash of wills had been decided, and humanity had won. The truth revealed, the galaxy trembled after the battle. 200 Council ships had faced only 50 human vessels, and still the Council had lost. The wreckage drifted like grave markers in the void, silent proof of a truth no one wanted to admit. The Council was no longer supreme. Humanity had returned. For weeks, the galaxy waited in silence. Would the humans strike again? Would they conquer world after world? But the humans did not attack. Their fleet lingered at the edge of the expanse, motionless, like hunters watching prey, and then the next message arrived. It began with an image of Earth, blue oceans, green lands, white clouds, a world most of the galaxy thought was only legend. The voice followed, steady and unbroken. We left because we chose to leave. We vanished not in weakness, but in preparation. The words fell heavy on every world. The humans explained their exile. They had turned their backs on the galaxy to grow stronger. They had found death worlds where storms raged with fire, where air turned to poison, where beasts hunted with claws of steel. On those worlds they forged soldiers, fleets, and weapons, unlike any other. We were mocked as fragile, we were called weak, the human admiral spoke. But weakness is only the beginning of strength. We endured what others could not. We survived what others would not. And now, we return to stand as more than you ever imagined. The galaxy listened in silence. In council chambers, leaders trembled. In homes, families clutched each other. The truth was clear. Humans had not been destroyed. They had evolved. They were no longer just people. They were something greater, something forged by suffering. Then came the words that froze even the bravest hearts. "We remember," the human voice said. "We remember how the galaxy mocked us. How they called us animals, how they cast us aside. We remember the betrayals, the wars, the arrogance. We do not forget." The council speaker shouted for calm, but his voice was drowned out by panic. If humans remembered the old insults, if they remembered every slight, then vengeance might be their goal. Billions feared the galaxy would burn, yet the human message did not end with threats. The admiral's tone softened, but it was no less dangerous. "We do not return for conquest, but for balance. The galaxy has grown arrogant. It has forgotten humility. It has forgotten fear. We return to remind it." The meaning was clear. Humanity was not asking for peace, but demanding respect. A respect enforced not by treaties, but by power. The Death World fleet was proof enough of that. The galaxy could no longer laugh at humans. It could only bow or resist. In the streets of distant colonies, people argued. Some saw hope, believing humans might bring justice against the Council's corruption. Others saw only doom, certain that humanity's return meant war unending. But all agreed on one thing: nothing would be the same again. The scholars studied the message with wide eyes. To them, one truth stood out. Humans had endured environments that no other race could survive. It meant their will was sharper, their patience endless, their strength unnatural. They had chosen hardship, and hardship had turned them into legends. The Council split apart, half demanded surrender, half demanded war. No unity remained, only fear. And the humans watched, silent, their fleet glowing faintly on the edge of space. The message clear without words. Time was running out. The final words of the broadcast echoed across every star. Stand with us or stand in our way. The galaxy shivered, for there was no middle path, and in that moment everyone realized the same truth. The age of the Council was ending, and the age of humanity had begun, a new galactic order. The galaxy had reached a breaking point, the humans had spoken, their fleets had struck, and their truth had been revealed. Now every race faced a choice: stand with them or stand against them. There was no middle path, no safe silence, only decision. In the council chamber, chaos reigned. Leaders shouted, demanded, begged, some calling for surrender, others calling for war. The speaker tried to hold the chamber together, but his words carried no weight. The council was crumbling, its power shattered by fear and division. Across the stars, smaller worlds began to act. Some sent envoys directly to the humans, pledging loyalty before the council could stop them. Others declared independence, seizing the chance to break free of centuries of rule. What the council feared most was now happening. The galaxy was slipping from its grasp. Meanwhile, the human fleet grew bolder. Their ships no longer lingered at the edge of the expanse. Now they moved system by system, cloaking entire sectors with their presence. They did not conquer, but they did not ask permission either. Everywhere they appeared, the council retreated, and then the final broadcast came. This time, the image was not just one human, but many. Commanders, soldiers, leaders, their faces hard, their eyes steady. The admiral's voice rose above them all. "We do not come to destroy, but to lead. The galaxy has forgotten respect, and now it will remember. Those who stand with us will know strength. Those who resist will know silence." The words spread like fire. On colony worlds, people cheered, hoping humanity would bring freedom. On council strongholds, people wept, certain their time was ending, but no one could ignore the message. No one could deny the truth. The ancients had returned, and they were human. In one last act of defiance, the council gathered what remained of its fleets. They prepared to make a final stand near the core systems. But when the humans arrived, the council ships did not fight. Instead, they surrendered, weapons powered down, hulls dark. Even the bravest admirals knew the truth. Resistance was meaningless. From that moment, the galaxy belonged to humanity, not through endless war, but through power that no one dared to challenge. The council dissolved, its banners lowered, its palaces emptied. In its place, a new order rose, an order shaped by the Death World fleet, an order shaped by humans. On distant worlds, children learned new lessons, not of the council, not of empires, but of humanity. They learned the stories of Earth, of the blue and white world that birthed the ancients. They learned that humans had endured death worlds and returned stronger than before. And they learned the one truth whispered in every shadow: fear humanity or follow them. The human fleet spread like a storm. But it was not conquest alone. They forged alliances with those who bent the knee. They offered protection to the weak. They punished only those who resisted, and their punishments were swift and final. The galaxy reshaped itself in their image. The ancients had not come to be guests. They had come to rule. And yet, for all the fear, there was also respect. For the first time in centuries, piracy vanished, corruption shrank, order returned. Because every shadow feared the human gaze, every world knew that somewhere in the dark, black ships watched, ready to remind them who truly held power. On the bridge of the flagship, a lone human captain stared at the galaxy map. The old council borders had faded, replaced by new lines, glowing faintly with Earth's mark. He stood silently, his voice calm but final as he spoke. "The ancients have returned, and nothing will ever be the same.